exciting time. I think when your life flashes before your eyes like it did the last 10 minutes of that Game 7 the other night, and you get that close to your season ending, I think you appreciate, every day you can come to work and are still alive here.
Both teams come out pretty epic Game 7s. How does that kind of carry on, or does it for either of both?
Yeah, there's always an emotional element to that. Those are always emotional wins, and then we both had them. It's how do you recover from that quickly and get re-engaged in the next series. I'm sure both teams are talking about that.
You mentioned in the series in Colorado there was a formula in there for you guys to win that series. Did St. Louis provide any kind of formula that you can take a look at or kind of supplement to your game at all?
Oh, I think so for sure. I think they did some really good things in order to create some opportunities for them offensively. And try and get to the goaltender. So, there's some things in there that we definitely have to look at and have looked at.
I know you would, proficiency in Game 7s over Game 1s would probably be preferred, but the Game 1 situation, do you do something differently here to try and end that streak and get off to a good start here on Wednesday?
Well, we're going on the road, which is a good one because the last 3, I think, or 4 have been all at home. So hopefully that changes it. Other than that, not really. There's only so much you can do. I mean, I like our preparation. The way we prepare for a Game 7 is the same way we prepare for a Game 1. So, there's no magic in that. I think, we just have to show up and have a big performance from key guys. I think that's always the key. Your key players have to be, engaged quickly here in Game 1.
You haven't had a full complement of healthy players in months.
Yeah.
You're getting close to it now. How do you make those decisions about who plays with who and how they play?
Yeah. Well, those are always tough, but those are great decisions to have. It's a luxury to have them because we haven't had them. But they're not easy decisions. But I think, when you get to this point in the playoffs, the guys understand. I mean, Colin Blackwell's probably out tomorrow. I told him we don't win round 1 without Colin Blackwell in the lineup and his contribution. So, the guys understand that, they want to be a part of it. They might not be a part of it and dressed every night, but they're all going to be a part of it some way, somehow.
Robertson's getting on the line. Does that mean he's ready?
He's close. We'll see tomorrow morning. It's all in his recovery and how he feels tomorrow.
Is it the case, you mentioned yesterday that he and Miro are in some ways in a similar spot in their return process?
Yeah.
Is it the case that it's a little easier for a forward maybe to come in on a wing as opposed to a defenseman playing 26 minutes a night?
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, the 26 minutes is easily, we don't have to play him 26 minutes. And that wouldn't be the plan. Obviously if he came in, we wouldn't plan on doing that. So, I don't think the minutes are the issue. Is it easier for a forward? The way Robo skates and the way Miro skates, it's easier for Robo.
You've always been really, what's the right word? You've really embraced the rolling everybody and everybody playing. I know it was a Game 7, but you see Rantanen getting time with multiple lines and using him more. Is that worthy of a shift in philosophy?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's situational. We're behind in games. I think it's natural to load up some of your offensive guys. So, I think situationally, yes. He's definitely a guy that can handle some more minutes than not everybody can handle big minutes. He's built for that, and we don't have a lot of guys that are built that way. So that's always a club we have in our bag.
He played a completely different style. He played with the same guy mostly his whole career. Are you impressed with how he's been able to do this? Because he's done this at different times this year. He's just tossed in with anybody and seems to do pretty well.
Yeah. No, his transition, despite what's been written, I think has been exceptional. When I think about some of the big name guys, I think Barry Trotz called them legacy players that have been in one place for a long time that have been traded.
Yeah.
He had Stamkos and Marchessault, Joe Pavelski, I think a Huberdeau in Florida to Calgary. None of those guys had an easy transition. So I think he's way ahead of schedule.
You look at Miko, obviously it's easy to see the impact he's made on the team, but he wasn't the only mid-season addition. Talk about these guys,
Yeah.
trades and how they've impacted this team.
Yeah, we've had some. You're right. I mean, I can't say enough about Granlund, and what he's brought. Cody Ceci, we don't get through the first round, unless those defensemen, Ceci, Bischel, Petrovic, all come in and do what they did. And those guys are all acquisition, Ceci in the summer, but the other two guys added, really at some point during the year. Yeah, I mean, that's what it takes, and those guys have all had big contributions.
Pete, if you could pick one thing that the guys execute right tomorrow to get a win, what would that be?
Oh, that's a good question. You know what? I think, yeah, you know what? I don't know if it's one thing. We have to handle the momentum in that building. The one thing you take from the St. Louis series is they were a different team at home than they were on the road, Winnipeg, and at home in that building, they really feed off their crowd and that environment. So we have to manage that and everything that comes with that.
With Jamie and Marchment look like skating on different lines today,
Mhm.
is part of that helping give some forechecking to Wyatt's line? With Roberts?
Yeah, you know what? I think a little bit of everything. I think I thought if I looked at the 7 games against Colorado, I didn't feel that we had I liked the Hins line, particularly the last 3-4 games. I thought they started to get some chemistry and get something going. Those other lines I thought were spotty, and I think we're just looking for some more consistency out of some of the combinations.
Is there a point during that Blues series, that game 7, that you're thinking, all right, let's start prepping for St. Louis?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I think that's natural. I think, yeah, I mean, as you're watching that game, you start watching it and you're kind of neutral watching both team systems. And then as that game goes deeper, obviously I started to spend most of my energy on watching St. Louis and what they were doing, thinking that that was the case. But that would have been a mistake, just like, whoever was watching our game with Colorado.
Pete, what do you personally expect to see from Connor Hellebuyck? I saw both sides of it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure he's going to be great. I'm sure we're going to see the guy who is up for the Vezina, and we have to be prepared for that. Okay, thank you.
Appreciate it.